Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Zen Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes. Yeah.
Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I am your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 127. As always, you can listen to this podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and leave a review. You can also check us out on Spotify as well as Google Play. And you can hit us up on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Dojo Talk Podcast Instagram page. You can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. And if you feel inclined to do so, you can send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com. Now that we got that out of the way, as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Anti-Cool. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just reveling in the fact that this card's already over. It's only like 10 o'clock.
Word. I mean, really, the card was over at like
7.
Yeah, like 7. So yeah, for you listeners, we are recording this Saturday night, the day of the card. It ended just a few hours ago. So I had to go give myself time to go back and rewatch the prelims because the card started so early that I was still at work, so I missed the first half. So I had to go back and catch up. But shout outs to the UFC. Just I love when cards end early.
That's ESPN for you, brother.
Yeah, this era is great. I'm all about the ESPN era. It's a good time for sports. Like we got ESPN era and the UFC. March Madness is about to be in full swing. If you're a basketball fan, all the tournaments are popping off. As of this recording, I think all of the finals matches are pretty much they're all tonight, right?
I think most of them are.
Yeah. So we got Duke is currently up on Florida State 58-47. All the tournaments are going down. It's a fun time to be a sports fan right now. Between just the NBA is hitting like that late season, playoffs are not too far out the way. We're almost there. And March Madness, it's a good time to be a sports fan. So, if you got ESPN, just leave it on ESPN all day. Lots of good things. And we're recording this the same night that Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia will be fighting. Probably in about an hour. That fight should hopefully be over by the time we finish. And we'll let you guys know who won.
All right. I have a question. I just remembered. Fox replaced the UFC with PBA bowling. Like, how's that going?
I don't know if any of you guys are, bowling fans out there. You let us know.
Well, I guess technically they replaced it with SmackDown, but that's not for like a year. So like,
PBA bowling.
all they really have is bowling. Like, does the guy who was like, who do you think you are? I am. Is he still Is he still bowling? Is he still a pro?
I have no idea.
Like, I can't imagine there's like a retirement age for bowling, right?
I'll say who's the LeBron?
I'm pretty sure it's that guy.
I mean, if he has a catchphrase,
that was his catchphrase. That's the only iconic moment in the history of bowling. I don't know. I was gonna say boxing.
How do you have beef as a bowler?
It's like that and that Dave Chappelle skit where he plays defense on the guy while he spins the ball.
That's the last bowling related thing I've ever watched outside of playing bowling, like in real life. Oh man! Shout out to all like the weird professional sports like bowling and cornhole.
I want to know, like those are the people who are really dedicated, man. But like, it's easy to get into prize fighting because like there's money at the end of it, right? But like, imagine being like the world's best axe chucker, which is a real sport that gets played on ESPN too. And like, You are just straight up in it for the love of the sport. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say because you got to know those paydays. Well, you know what? I can't really say. I don't know how much they get paid. Maybe on the low, the axe trucker's making like a decent, living wage.
like the local hardware stores, putting out them checks, keeping them afloat.
Sponsored by Harbor Freight.
Remember that freaking Stokes sent us a thing the other day about what was it, the woman who beat her master, who taught her how to throw axes, and then after she won, they just broke down and started crying.
That's a great moment. That's
That's
a nice feel good moment.
That's a friggin' moment at the end of the movie, man. It's like you've overcome.
Yeah, man. You guys better not make a movie out of that. I do not want to see like a Hollywood scene of people throwing axes and there's like a Hans Zimmer soundtrack.
I mean, it wouldn't be like let's be real. This wouldn't be like a Hollywood movie. It'd be like a Netflix movie. Like, does Netflix make like those B movies anymore? I don't even have freaking Netflix anymore.
I mean, some of the Netflix movies are pretty.
Well, no. Like, I'm sure like they're like they have like Bird Box and like all the professional looking ones. I'm talking about like the B movies. Like, how we don't get TV movies anymore. Like, are they making them now?
No, I think they're like a step above. At least the originals. It's hard for me to say though because I haven't watched a lot of them, but the ones I've watched I've actually enjoyed. So maybe they do, and I've just been lucky and I've been dodging them.
Like the only TV movies you get are like on Disney Channel, and they're never gonna make anything better than like Brink.
Somebody's got to be making those B-list movies though. Like somehow there's a place for those.
Like the people who can't get like a spot in like Hollywood or New York or Georgia, the film, so they're just like in Nashville.
Right.
Because that's like the next cheapest place.
Those movies there has to be levels. Like there has to be B movies. They have to exist. We can't just have like blockbusters all the time. You have to have those.
Where's the mid card, damn it?
Yeah. you gotta have those real movies that are like, I saw where y'all were going, but
It's like Disney and Lifetime, and those are the only people making like the TV level movies anymore, man. That's sad.
I need to start like, this is a random side tangent. I need to start, because I went through this phase, I got made fun of this at work, I have no shame. I went through this phase where I would go on Netflix and purposely watch the bad movies that got like 2-star ratings.
Dude, the bad movies are the best movies. Are you kidding me?
But I want to see like, how far these people's acting careers go. Like, who in Sharknado got calls back to do other movies that weren't Sharknado?
Well, eventually it was just like they just got celebrities to do Sharknado, right?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, because like somehow Vivica Fox ended up in like the third one.
That's how you know they sold out. Let's see. Hold up.
Or maybe like, because I don't know who directed that movie.
Okay.
Like, how?
The director was Anthony C. Ferrante.
Are you on IMDb?
I am on Wikipedia.
What has he done after that? That's not Sharknado related.
He did Forgotten Evil.
I have no idea what that is. But he did another movie. That's
Dude,
cool.
he's done a whole bunch of movies. He's been making movies since '87.
Jeez. Okay. All right. So he was established. He took a risk well late into his career. So.
I mean, that was the same guy who directed Hansel and Gretel.
Okay. Maybe he could get away with it. I want to start keeping tabs on you, like C-list actors. Let's see where y'all going.
Man,
there's a market for y'all. There's a market for me. If y'all can make it, I'm gonna find a way.
There is nothing better in this world than a terrible movie made by somebody who has no idea they made a terrible movie.
Oh man. Speaking of C-list people, to swing it back to basketball, you remember Adam Morrison?
Yes.
So I don't know how he randomly got brought up in a conversation at work, but we Googled him to make sure he was still alive, and he's actually like doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah.
Apparently.
What's he doing now?
He during his NBA career, I think he made like 17 mil, and then they said he had endorsements from Adidas and Johnson & Johnson, which were worth like $1 million. And like his dad is like the owner of like a bank. So his dad taught him how to just manage his money. So he just lives in like Washington and just like has a girlfriend or wife and just take care of his kids.
I mean, that's my dream, man.
Yeah, he's just like living the life. Like, and apparently he's like, you know, he's not a big spender. He's not out here, you know, balling out of control. So it just kind of worked out. So, you know, you can be a bust in the NBA and still live a pretty accomplished life, I guess is the moral of the story. If you don't spend all your money.
Don't assume that the money's gonna be there forever, because it's not.
It's definitely not.
Dude, like, this is a really good point that was brought up by, like, who was it? AOC, where like professional athletes really like they make a lot of money, but they don't make a lot of money. You feel me?
Yeah, this is such a random another side tangent, but I was thinking, I can't remember who I heard this from, but like it made sense somehow when I started connecting dots. It was like, you know, we hear these contracts, we hear all these numbers get thrown out, you know, especially like in NBA and like baseball, like so-and-so signed 3 years, $80 million. It's like, how did he go broke? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, most people who get that kind of money, you're going to live an expensive lifestyle. And then people will counter that and say, well, you don't need 80,000 cars, you know, so on and so forth. Which is true. You don't need a lot of cars. But you can't live in the same neighborhood you used to.
Oh, hell no. Like, are you kidding me?
Like, I'm sorry. You cannot be making 80 mil and still staying on the block. That's just not feasible. We all know.
Yeah, like like your cost of living has to go up.
Yeah, your cost of living has to go up.
Like, and no one's saying you have to like spend like $20 million a year, but like, I'm sorry, Kyrie Irving can't go back to living in Orange,
right?
Or whatever. Like Orange sucks.
Yeah, LeBron's never going back to live in Akron.
Right.
Like you just can't. Like you just really can't. And if you did, you'd have to spend all your money on security.
Right.
Because people are going to be on your head.
Exactly. Like, dude, like if hip hop has taught me anything, it's that it's when you make your money, you leave.
Yeah. You can come back and invest.
You can go back and do a show. You can invest. You better bring some security with you, though.
Yeah.
But,
it's hard to come back and live.
Yeah.
Boy, that is, yeah. So now it kind of makes sense. Like athletes do, you throw that, like your lifestyle goes up, and then, you know, with a bigger lifestyle comes more expensive.
Well, like
more expenses.
It's a lot of self-belief too, because you're like, oh, I just signed a deal for $80 million for 3 years. You know, the one I get after that is gonna be way bigger, and it's just like, no, you tear your ACL, and
that's it.
All of a sudden, like, you know, that $80 million got to last you the rest of your life.
Yep. Because here's the thing: you made 80 mil, but those bills keep coming. They don't end.
Right.
Those bills don't. They don't stop. And as much as 80 mil is, bills add up quick, man.
Yeah.
They add up really quick.
Especially when you gotta pay for like trainers and shit to keep you in shape.
Yeah. Not to mention like the 80 family members you're probably paying for too.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get that 17 mil Adam Morrison come up though.
Dude, man, if I had $17 million, I'd never have to work again. I think I worked this out. If I had $5 million, I would never have to work again. Because I could just spend $100,000 a year, and I'd be golden for life.
Yeah, I could do that. That's the goal now.
That's like what 50? That's like 50 years worth of money.
Just to throw this hypothetical. Let's say somehow you get a come up 5 years. You still doing a podcast, or are you just gonna ghost?
I mean, I might have to take a break so I could relocate and get away from all these people who are gonna be trying to eat off me. But I ain't going nowhere. Not until this sport fucking kills me.
All right. Yeah, I'll take 5 minutes. I'm definitely taking a break too. I'd probably take like a month off.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you. It's not exactly like this podcast is paying me.
Right.
This ain't like my job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do this because it's fun. The library can say bye, though. Sorry. I love them guys, but you just can't be moving the same when you come up that quick.
Yeah, you gotta move different.
That's what none of these other young kids ever learn.
Yeah.
They'd be like, nah, I want to drive. Now that I have a fucking, I don't even know a fancy car. Like now I have a Bugatti, I'm gonna go ride it to the bike shop. You can't do that.
Get your whole head lifted off your shoulders and your chain taken. Oh boy. Well, that was our little random spiel. You know. But before we get started, shout out to the listeners. Top cities for the week. Bangalore, India. Number 1. Number 2, New York, New York. Number 3, Red Deer, Canada. Number 4, Markham, Canada. Number 5, I didn't know there was a Washington in Pennsylvania, but
Yeah, there's a Washington everywhere, man. There are 2 in Jersey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Washington, Pennsylvania. Shout outs to all the listeners, man. Everybody who posts, reposts, Twitter folk, Tumblr folk. You all are great. We appreciate you. So yeah. Today's show, I say it shouldn't be too long, but I don't want a lot of y'all. Shouldn't be though. I feel like it won't be. But we'll see what happens. But anywho, you know, as always, we'll start with fight news and announcements, and then we'll just get on to tonight's card because there weren't any other fights I saw this weekend, so I can't comment on anything that really happened. So we will just kick this off with fight news and announcements. Not a super busy week, but there still actually were some pretty good fight announcements that we will briefly touch on and then get into some news. Going from the top, at UFC 238, Tatiana Suarez will be returning to the cage. She will be facing off against Nina Ansaroff. Also on that same card, we'll have Joanne Calderwood versus Caitlin Chukagian. At UFC 236, we will have Curtis Millender facing off against Bilal Muhammad. At UFC Fort Lauderdale, we will have Alex Oliveira versus The Leech, Jing Leon Lee. That should be awesome. Also at UFC 236, we'll have Jalen Turner versus Matt Favola. UFC 237 has a little bit of announcements with Warley Alves versus Alberto Mina, and then also Syed Nurmagomedov versus Raoni Barcelos. UFC Philadelphia has 3 new additional fights. We'll have Ray Borg versus Kyler Phillips, Kevin Holland versus Gerald Mearshart, and Mark De La Rosa versus Alex Perez. And then backtracking again to UFC 236, we'll have Max Griffin versus Salim Amadev. And the last UFC note I have is the UFC signed Brazilian prospect Michel Pereira. I want to say he fought in Road FC, and if you guys haven't seen any videos of him, he jumps off of cages and does a lot of wild things. So I guess it's only right that they sign him.
I feel like we should mention that was mid-fight.
Yeah, this isn't like post-fight celebration.
Yeah, no, the man climbed on top, like he ran up, jumped up on top of the cage, and proceeded to do a backflip off of it to try and stomp his opponent's head into the ground.
Yeah, so we'll see how many we'll see how many points he gets deducted in his UFC debut when he lands strike to a grounded opponent because he did an elbow drop off the cage.
Or he just climbs to the top and just slips and falls out.
But you know, look out for him. He's gonna be a character when he finally makes his debut. Moving down to Bellator, Bellator 218. We'll have a set of brothers fighting, not fighting each other, but you know, fighting on the same card. Anatoly Tokov will be fighting Gerald Harris, and his brother Vladimir Tokov will be fighting Ryan Walker. So that'll be at Bellator 218. At Bellator 219, we'll have Joe Schilling versus Keith Berry. And at Bellator 221, Dylan Danis will be making his return. He will be fighting Max Humphreys. I don't know who that is, but that's the thing.
I mean, we shouldn't know who that is because if you care about Dylan Danis, you hide the weakness. and if my recollection of his first fight in MMA is, he does not take punches well.
Oh boy.
I mean, he's better than the other guy, the AJ guy.
We don't need to talk about him.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I even mentioned him on this podcast.
We had a whole 20-minute conversation about how bad his fight was.
I don't like the dog fighters, but he really just. If I never see him fight again, I would be ecstatic.
If it makes you feel any better, he's reportedly a really just. So this is the thing I've noticed about American Jiu-Jitsu guys. They all tend to have the most giantest of egos. And it's not the fun type of ego, like a Tony Ferguson or something. It's just they think God put them on this earth to share with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's AJ, it's fucking Dylan Danis. The two dudes who were with Lloyd Irvin before they got ousted as pedophiles or whatever. Or sexual assault guys, crap, I forgot the names. And I don't want to throw any whatever out there because I don't want to associate somebody's name if I don't got it right. But there were two dudes from White Urban who were notorious dicks, who just I don't know what it is about the BJJ community where that's a thing in America, but it seems to be a thing.
Oh, AJ gotta chill. AJ gotta.
AJ, you are no Gordon Ryan.
Mm-mm.
Matter of fact, Dylan Danis, you are no Gordon Ryan.
Actually, speaking of jiu-jitsu, one last quick fight announcement. At Polaris 10, Uriah Faber will be going against this kid named Nicky Ryan.
Oh. If I remember
right,
Nicky Ryan is really good.
I didn't know kid's 17. But apparently he is a beast. Dude is I haven't seen him. I've been trying to get into jiu-jitsu more, but I don't really know the names aside from Gordon. What was his name? Was it Gordon Ryan? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of the people, so I'm pretty ignorant in the jiu-jitsu world. But I've heard Nicky Ryan is a beast.
Eddie Bravo black belt.
Yeah, so him and Uriah Faber will be going down at Polaris 10. So that should be that should be a thing. That will be a thing. I guess real quick before we start the fights, just quick thoughts on Suarez versus Anzarov and Calderwood and Chikagian.
I'm trying to remember the last time I saw somebody who was able to take down Anzarov, and I want to say it's definitely happened, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. I'm just excited to see Suarez again. She's been out way too long. When did she destroy Carlos Esparza? Last June or something?
That's been a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. If only just to see her, because Suarez, not Suarez, Anzarov does have the striking advantage, possibly, but Suarez is good enough of an athlete where I can see that not being a factor. I don't have a whole lot to say about Chikagian versus Calderwood, which is not a good thing because that fight is potentially going to be a number one contender fight for Shevchenko. I like what Calderwood has looked like at flyweight. She's looked good. She's apparently now a submission artist. I didn't see her fight with Lipsky. I never went back and watched it.
Oh yeah, she put it on Lipsky.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, she put it on her.
So but for everything else I've seen from her has been really good. So I'm excited to see that her compete again. Not less so for Chikagian just because she is all the worst parts of early career Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, I like both fights. I don't say I feel bad for Anzarov because like she's on a good streak right now, and it seems like she's really improving. And then I feel like in this fight somehow all that could go out the window.
Oh yeah, like Suarez is the best women's wrestler in the history of women's MMA.
Yeah, this is like all of this improvement she's been doing that we've seen in like her last 2 to 3 fights. Like this could all go out the window really quick if Suarez just gets a hold of her. Like as much as Anzarov, well, I don't say it's like it's a crazy gap, but I'll maybe step on the ledge and say Anzarov has a striking advantage, but at the same time, it's not like Anzarov is like a knockout artist.
Right.
So like, how long are you really gonna be able to keep Suarez away from you? It almost feels like the inevitable is gonna happen. Like you're gonna try to use some footwork and like not get try to move around and not be a target. But boy, if she catches you, it's gonna be a long night. Or maybe a short one, but it's going to be painful. But no, I like that fight. Yeah, Calderwood Caitlin, I'm not crazy about other than if Calderwood wins, seeing her in a title fight would be really awesome. So, go JoJo. And real quick, the Melinda Bilal fight.
I'm happy to see that Melinda, was able to pick himself back up and just get right back out there. But that fight should be fun. Has Bilal taken anybody down? Because like that would be the easy path to victory here.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a grinder. I almost feel like he'll. Then I don't know. Bilal's kind of wild too. That is gonna be a fun fight because I'm not really sure. Like I feel like Bilal has like I don't even know if I can say he has an overall better. Because Melinda's way better on the feet. Not that Bilal's terrible, but like Melinda's a way more, creative.
Oh, I think his style presents issues for Bilal. Well, did Bilal beat Means? Am I crazy? Is that fight that happened? He fought somebody. Yeah, he beat Means.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, I was just saying, like Bilal's like he's
a scrappy dude.
Yeah, he's crazy tough. So it's like if Melinda can't catch him with something, a la flying knee, something kind of wild, I could envision Bilal like grinding out a win,
right,
and making it just kind of ugly.
I don't know. I like that fight. Like Bilal's a grinder in the sense that he will stay. Like he's not. The dude's not like a Jake Shields. He just refused to go away.
Yeah, he's just gonna be in your face forever.
There's gonna be a height difference. It's just gonna like I see the head kick opening up for Melinda. I'm like at the same time I just like the only dude who's been able to knock out Bilal up to this point is Vicente Luque, who might be one of the best punchers in the sport. Like in terms of just like power to weight class wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we'll see though. That should be a fun one. And boy oh boy, Cowboy Oliveira versus the Leech.
Yes.
Violence.
Cowboy's probably going to take him down and beat him up, which sucks. Because I want to see these two men just throw bombs at one another.
I'm gonna pray that happens, so we don't get like a Zaleski Melinda situation.
So
where Cowboy takes the easy way out, but the smart way.
I'm not sure Cowboy has that in him.
Yeah. I don't either. I don't think he's just a wild man.
Oh my God! Did you see? Was it Guillermo Cruz's reporting on him?
Yeah, he has like 6.
He has 7 baby mothers. They're all from the same town.
And like 3 of them live on like the same street.
That's like a few blocks away from 2 of his kids have the same birthday.
That man is a cowboy for real. He is a legit cowboy for real.
If this was legit the 1800s, like he'd have a kid in every single town in Brazil.
Hey man. Shout out to Alex Oliveira. He out here. he is out here, and he is
Complete madman.
yeah man. He's planting his seeds. Hey man, it is what it is.
There's a dude who like a few months ago had a hand grenade tossed at him at a gas station.
Man. We need his 30 for 30.
Like that's a life story. Like this man wasn't a real life cowboy.
How do you have 7? Jesus Christ. It's like a whole... You got a starting lineup and 2 coming off the bench. Like, jeez.
I mean, it's a lucky number.
Yeah, that is true. Well, they say 7 is like the number of completion, so you should stop having kids, I guess.
I mean, he is a young man.
Right? And UFC fighters don't get paid, you know. Ain't out here balling like that. So
damn, that child support split up has to be crazy.
I mean, maybe he's lucky and like all 7 of his baby moms are like really nice and they don't put him on. Maybe he is a very caring and loving father, and they were like, you know what, he's a good guy, and you know, we're just not going to put him on the whole child support thing, because could you imagine if you get child support from that many baby moms, boy, maybe that's why he fights so much. I don't know.
Man, I figure his life is just a constant fight.
Yikes.
If you're not fighting like rodeo bulls, you're fighting your own poor decisions.
Shout out to Cowboy Oliveira. Oh, and Duke won the ACC tournament.
Yep, Zion.
So, yeah, that was the thing. That's all right. My Tar Heels are gonna be back in March Madness. We'll see y'all again, hopefully. But yeah, that's pretty.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wanna?
All right. So as many of you, I'm pretty sure many of you've heard, but for any of you who may not have heard, Tony Ferguson was recently in the news. This was just a headline of. It was just weird when this popped up. Like I wasn't ready to see this, but you know, you guys may have seen the headline that Tony Ferguson was hit with a restraining order from his wife. Now, based off like the headlines of a lot of the initial articles, because a lot of like the initial articles, you know, said like his wife put on a restraining order for domestic violence, and a lot of people, like when you hear domestic violence, your mind immediately shifts to, like, you know, the kind of image that puts in your head,
right?
Of like what it would be. But you know, if there was a silver lining to this at all, I guess, like luckily it wasn't the case that he was being like physically abusive, or like he wasn't beating his wife up or anything like real crazy like that.
And you should point out, I can't remember where the restraining order was filed. I think it was in California, but like the definition of domestic violence there for that type of thing is a lot different than what like.
Yeah, it's not just physical.
Yeah.
It covers a variety of things. So, but in a nutshell, she put the restraining order on him because I didn't know this until the article came out, that apparently he's had like a history of this. But he's been having these really bizarre, like, just like issues of things he's been doing. Like they said, he's been like just randomly breaking things in his house. He said like he was really paranoid at one point and thought that he had like a chip in his leg. I think like he threw holy water at his wife. Like he was doing a lot of just really very very just strange and, you know, kind of out there behaviors. And apparently he's had like a mini, like, this isn't the first time this has happened. Like, he's had a pattern of this.
Apparently he was on meds, and he was prescribed meds in 2011. And from the sounds of it, it was for schizophrenia.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump out the window and like try to blame it on one thing or another, because I mean, first thing I thought of, like, could it be like CTE or, you know, but I didn't want to jump out the window because you just the story had like literally just broke, so you kind of don't know. You gotta wait for, you know, these stories to kind of play out. But like luckily, like even the wife said, like she never felt like her life was in danger, or they have a son or daughter.
They have a baby, like a really young baby son, I believe.
Now she said she never felt like, you know, her or her kid were in any actual danger. She was just like really concerned for his well-being because of how like bizarre his behavior has been.
Like,
and then
I don't know. Like one of the instances she details was like, apparently they were driving down the highway and they got stuck in traffic, and for whatever reason, Tony Ferguson had like a panic attack or something, hopped out the car, like jumped the guardrail and was just gone. And he did not appear until like several hours later at their home. Like nothing had happened. Like there was a whole thing of just like, what up? Traffic. Like there was like, I have Christina's whole account right here. Like there apparently he was just up for 3 days straight. Like that was a thing that happened where he thought, okay, so on February 5th, Christina wrote that Tony did not sleep and he believed that there would be a great flood as a result of the lunar eclipse. Tony allegedly purchased a life raft and took Christina and their son on a drive inland, all the way to Palm Desert, California, about 111 miles from their home in Santa Ana.
Jeez. That's a long drive.
Yeah. Tony woke her and her son up in the middle of the night and said they had to leave because they were not safe. Tony promised to seek help with mental issues if there was no flood, but later refused. February 12th. This is 7 days later. Tony had what Christina described as a psychotic break or panic attack. He screamed in her face, swore at her, and believed that she was someone else, she wrote. I woke up late at night to Tony standing over me, accusing me of being a witch. Christina wrote that February 16th. Christina wrote that Tony unplugged the refrigerator and turned off half the power in the home because he believed there was cameras in the refrigerator and ceiling fan, and that he was being watched. He also cut the wires to the heat and air conditioning unit, she wrote, because he believed there were tracking devices in them. February 19th, Tony allegedly agreed to be taken for psychological help at Keck Medical Center at USC. Christina and her father went to go pick him up, she wrote. When they arrived, they saw the furniture and walls in the home had been destroyed. The mantle had been ripped off the wall because Christina wrote that Tony had believed there was a hidden doorway under the fireplace. Santa Ana police were called that day, which is also around the time she moved into her parents' home. March 5th, Christina wrote that she picked up Tony to meet him again to take him to the Keck Medical Center. While they were driving, they hit traffic on the 405 in Los Angeles. While the car was moving, Christina wrote that Tony jumped out onto the freeway, ran away, jumped over a fence, and disappeared. He did make it back to their family residence later. According to Christina Ferguson's declaration to the court, Tony Ferguson, 35, arrived at her parents' home, where Christina had been residing on March 7th. Tony allegedly asked their son, want to go for a ride. Christina said that she told Ferguson it was too late and he could not take their son. She wrote that she and her mother stood in front of the door to prevent Tony from leaving, but he pushed them both out of the way, ran back into the house, out the back door, and over the fence, all with his son in his arms. Christina wrote that Tony had left his cell phone and car behind and ran away on foot with their son, who was not wearing a diaper or shoes. He was also raining out. There are many frightening instances which I have yet to list in these declarations. However, I have videos and photos of Tony's frightening, irrational, and paranoid behavior, which depicts Tony crying, laughing, muttering, yelling, etc., for no apparent rational reason. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a lot. I guess an update, which happened like as of about 4 or 5 hours ago. Tony did make an Instagram post, just basically saying that he's in good spirits now, and I guess the UFC is helping him, get the help that he needs. So that's a good thing, coming from all of this. So hopefully that works out, because that's just,
That's scary.
That's kind of scary. Like, luckily that situation didn't turn any worse. Like it probably could have been a lot worse. That's just
like, wow. Again, like, probably for the best. Like, not even probably. Like, definitely good thing he's not fighting at the moment. I don't know how to process that, to be honest with you. Like, because we have poked fun at a lot of the eccentricities of Tony Ferguson. There's a man who kicks pipes because he believes it helps him, kick harder in the cage. He's doing like,
he's doing real life anime workouts.
Yeah.
Like, the man is just like, he's just making up workouts on the fly, and we just kind of like, oh, I guess that's just what he, that's just what he does. That's just Tony.
Right. So it kind of just colors a lot of the past stuff we knew about him with a little different,
Yeah.
Because like I said, like, he was apparently at one time on medication, like, that he was prescribed in like 2011 or something like that. I'm imagining like he's been on all types of other medication for other things. Like, there's a dude who, after the Johnson fight, had to take a year off because he tore his like elbow or something. And then all the recent injuries he's had against with his fights being canceled against Khabib. Like, I can't, like, I'm imagining he was taking stuff for those, and like the stuff he was taking, and like the schizophrenia medication. I'm imagining it doesn't mix well. So if he stopped taking it, I can see why. And like Christina said, like, there are other instances that she has yet to document. I'll say one thing. I'm happy Tony Ferguson's gotten all the support he has from both, like the UFC, like, his employers, and from like the fans, because I could have seen I don't expect a lot of fans.
Yeah, this could have turned into, and I'm lucky. Like, I heard, because the internet gonna internet,
Right?
But like, on my timeline, I actually didn't see any of that. Like, everybody I saw was, everybody's pulling for him, everybody's wishing for the best. So that was good to see on my timeline, because this could have easily been like an internet troll job, and people just could have. This could have went another way. Y'all know how the internet is,
right?
So I'm glad it didn't turn into that. So I think that
literally the only person I've seen take any shots at Tony has been Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Yeah,
and that was just because he told him, like, and all that was he told him to stop smoking. Because Tony Ferguson said he will be back and he'll beat Khabib or whatever. But Yeah, like I'm happy for like the fan support. I'm happy people are being understanding. Um, there was one thing I wanted to talk about in this fight, and it is just escaping my mind right now. Or with this situation. Yeah, no.
I'm just, I hope he takes off as much time as he needs. You know, fighting is great. I mean, it's got to suck because that is the way that you make your living. That's your source of income. But you can't work if you can't take care of yourself.
Right.
Those, and that's with any kind of health issue, mental, physical. Like you can't work if you're not in your best. You need to be as close to 100% you can get. So how much ever time he needs to take off, man. I hope it works out. I hope he gets the help he needs. And I'm pretty sure whenever he comes back, because I don't think for a second that this is the last we've seen of him. I'm pretty sure he'll be back, and he'll be back right in the cage doing all the wild stuff again. But hopefully he'll just be in a better, a better mental space. But no, man, just well wishes to Tony, man. I'm glad he's getting help, and we'll keep an update, keep an eye on the situation, and just hope it continues to get better. So all shout outs and prayers to Tony Ferguson and his family. Ugh. All right, that was kind of heavy.
That is, I mean, thank God it's not. It didn't escalate to the a point where somebody was in real danger.
Yeah. That'd have been rough. But all right, so let's move on to the main event. Bring a little more lightheartedness. Let's talk about some fights, man.
Oh, speaking of which, I know you're a David Benavidez fan, the man with the 20-30 punch combination.
I randomly watched that again the other day.
He's fighting Jillian Love right now, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Get him Benavidez, throwing another 80 piece out there.
That's what you do when you're on cocaine, my man.
That KO is so mesmerizing. But
it's really upsetting to me that weed's a performance-enhancing drug, but cocaine isn't.
All right, because cocaine has to numb the pain.
Dude, cocaine makes you fucking Superman. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Boy, Golden State is beating the bricks off of OKC. That's another story for another day. Oh Lord, the Jazz are killing the Nets. Hey, my Spurs won. All right. Moving on to the fights, man. UFC Fight Night. Lord. UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus 5.
Or
ESPN
UFC
Fight Night.
UFC Fight Night, ESPN, what is it? Till vs Masvidal, or UFC Fight Night 147.
147. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of names.
I mean,
real quick. This I don't know why this just made me think of this. I should have said this in the very beginning of the podcast. Quick, minor scheduling change. I normally put podcasts out on Tuesdays at 12. I actually just schedule it on SoundCloud and on YouTube. I'm probably gonna move that up. I don't know why it just randomly hit me the other day that putting these out at 12 is just kind of stupid. So normally what we do is we record on weekends, and by Monday I have it edited by Monday night, and I can just put it out whenever I want to. So I'm probably just gonna start with just releasing these literally Tuesday at 1 a.m. So if you're in your morning traffic rush, you can listen. Eating breakfast, you can listen. You don't gotta wait all the way till 12. So that I'll be making that change. So you'll just get podcasts on the same day, but it'll just be 6 hours earlier. So there you go. But anywho, UFC on ESPN Plus 5. Till versus Masvidal. This went down in London, which was great. Time zones, for once, are awesome. Card started early and ended early, which is the only reason we're even recording this right now. because it went off at a very respectable time. But let's just start this from the top, man. Main event: Jorge Masvidal versus Darren Till. Man, this is an interesting matchup when this fight first got announced. We haven't seen Masvidal in a while. Till, coming off a very, very disappointing performance against Woodley. So it was just going to be interesting to see how this fight played out. And I think we predicted this fight on this podcast a couple of times. I think we both picked. I don't know if we both picked Masvidal, but we both said we would not be shocked if he won because Till just, for all the talent he has, his flaws seem to just reappear more often than not.
See, this was like the ultimate. Like, Till should have won this fight.
Yeah.
Like, on paper, like, Masvidal was going to give him the fight he wanted. So methodical. He's not a volume puncher. He's not going to be able to out jab the longer dude until. And we saw briefly, basically what should have happened, which was Till was going to connect on Masvidal when he showed up along the cage and just blast the shit out of him. And he did. And that lasted all of 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he lost complete control of the fight.
Yeah. And we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but I knew this fight was gonna go downhill for Till. After he blasted Masvidal with that straight, and Masvidal lived, and I was like, oh, so Masvidal can take this. You're in trouble because the first round was it was a high pace, and if I was to pick on which of these two fighters could keep up that pace for 5 rounds, it definitely wasn't Till. I was like, Masvidal can probably do this for 5 rounds, or at least maybe he'll slow down a little bit, but not a ton. Till, on the other hand, you can't keep this pace for 5 rounds. And Till just, like I said, man, it's the same problems, different fight. Now, I will say, because I've criticized him before, that I always say he throws an average of 3 punches around. He threw a little more than that. He was active, he was throwing. He was landing. He put Masvidal down. He landed a couple good shots with Masvidal against the cage. But a lot of Till's problems, man, it's just kind of like he just relies on his strength.
And his size.
Yeah, and his size to just kind of win him fights, but he doesn't really have there's no game plan. There's no.
It's not even like there isn't a game plan. There's no he has a very incomplete roadmap of what he wants to do. It's he is cutthroat Conor McGregor. He's big and long, and he's going to walk you down and hit you with the power hand. But when you throw on Conor is ready to counter. He's ready to quarter pivot out and hit you with something, or he's ready to disengage. Till doesn't do any of that. He literally will. The most I've seen Till do when somebody throws at him is he'll take 2 steps back and shell up. And that's what he did here. He took a step back, tried to shell up, thought I think he thinks that his length is going to protect him from people being able to touch him. It's going to give him time to move and stuff. But he never actually moves.
Yeah, he strictly just kind of plots for it. He doesn't use a lot of footwork. His head didn't move until he gets. His head only moves when he gets hit. He doesn't really, It's just not a lot going on other than him plotting forward and throwing power shots and just hoping I'll just land more than you. And against a guy like Masvidal, who if you know Masvidal's history, man, long live Strikeforce. Dude's been around here, man. He's been around this block for a long time. Like, dude's just been fighting in general, you know, going from the backyard days up until now. Like, Masvidal knows what he's doing in there. Albeit it doesn't always translate to win sometimes, but, you know, he's a crafty dude. And at least Masvidal, he can use footwork. He uses head movement. He can slip a punch. As much as he can get in, like, wild exchanges, he still has, like, these other techniques that can get him out of bad spots. As for Till, it's just kind of like, you know, I'll give one to take one, I guess, or I'll just keep giving one and hope you don't really hit me back. And you just look at the difference in just, like, the speed. And I knew it was going to be a problem because Till couldn't put him away. And I'm like, if this fight would have went longer, I just envisioned Masvidal just would have warmed. He just would have outworked him. Because they were, you know, it's not like Till didn't have moments. Like, he landed good strikes, but he couldn't, outside of that first, like, left, he didn't really, like, really stun Masvidal like that. And Masvidal is getting hits off. He's landing nice combinations. And it was just weird, though, because Till, you look at their body size. Till looked like he was about 2 weight classes above him.
Because he
which,
is.
Yeah, technically he really is. Because Masvidal at welterweight is basically just a blown-up 155er. And Till is a welterweight, but dude is huge, man. Like, you just look at, like, their body mass, just, like, the thickness of their muscles. Till is so much bigger than he was. But when Masvidal could take those hits, I'm like, all Till really has is the power. Like, if he can't put Masvidal to sleep, he's not gonna outwork him because Till's not a workhorse like that. Like, that's just not really what he does. And Masvidal is probably better in every other facet, pretty much. But I did not think Masvidal was gonna take his soul. I envisioned that Masvidal would just kind of box him up for 5 rounds, and that's just how it would go. But it only took 2. Masvidal, like, he kind of like flicked out a right and then switched to a left, and the left just like death on impact. And he landed another shot while Till was going down, but he didn't need to. Till's soul left the arena like the second that left hand touched him, and his head bounced off the canvas twice.
Yeah. Like,
once again though, speed advantage. Like, Masvidal got in so quick. Like, I don't think Till didn't. He literally didn't know what happened. Like, when they lifted him back up, finally, like, he asked his coaches, like, what, like, at least I thought I saw him mouth it, like, what happened? Like, well, he didn't see that. I didn't see it. In real time, I had no idea what happened. It happened so fast. Like, I feel like I looked down at my phone for, like, a second, and I looked up, and Till was just falling over.
yeah. Freaking Masvial with the fast-ass hands, man. Like, during the promo for this fight, Till's coach, and I don't know what his name is. I'm not very familiar with Till's camp. Kind of talked extensively about, like, you know, like the work they do, like about like, oh, like one of the things we try to do for Till every time he steps in the cage, like every time is like teach him new stuff and, you know, have him play with new concepts and everything like that. And it's just like, Till's the same dude who fought like Nicholas Dalby all those years ago, you know? Like, he's not growing, and I've mentioned in the past, like, in part, it's probably due to just how much effort and time in his camp goes to cutting weight. But, like, Till's in that same boat that guys like Cody Garbrandt and Francis Ngannou are, where they got rushed to a title fight. They either, like, somebody figured them out, then they have to fight the rest of the top 10, and now people know how to beat them, and now they're struggling to put it together. Like, and Till's probably, like, you can go back to the Wonder Boy fight where, like, Wonder Boy was not doing much, but anytime Till would try to close the distance, he'd, like, throw out these, like, pitter-patter punches and close on a leg kick, and Till would just kind of just shell up and not do anything. Like, there's no counter punching, there's no concerted defensive effort. Like, he doesn't even use his feet to get away from these situations. Like, he just kind of shuts down and assumes that, like, the other, like, it's very your turn, my turn striking.
All right.
And it's just not. That's just not going to work at, like, the highest levels of MMA.
Especially, like, when you don't. At the least, if you're gonna fight like that, you gotta at least move your head, try to duck some punches,
Throw more
like,
than one punch at a time.
Right, like, like, if you're gonna fight like that, there are other things you're gonna have to add to your game.
Right.
Like, you gotta slip a jab every now and again or something. Like, you can't just pit for pat is not gonna win you a belt. It's just not. Like, unless you're a heavyweight and you just carry, like, that kind of scary knockout power that you can just kill anybody in one hit, bro, you can't. That's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna cut it. It's just not gonna cut it.
Like, and that's why That's why, as long as Till's at, like, 170, like, I think he's gonna be more Cody Garbrandt than he's gonna be, like, Francis Ngannou. Like, because Francis Ngannou could stay the same fighter for the rest of his career, and he will probably look into another title shot.
All right.
Like, 170 it might be boring, but these guys are good at the top. Like, Santiago Ponzinibbio watched that fight today, and, like, he knows how to beat Darren Till now. Like, maybe, I don't know if he can execute on the game plan, but, like, the game plan's out there, and Till has shown no ability to just, like, to adapt. Like, you could see, like, at a certain point in the first round, Masvidal just figured out that if he kept throwing, Till would do nothing in return. So he just stops caring about his own defense. It just starts, like, it just uncharacteristically just starts throwing these big power punches. It's just like, oh, he's figured it out. It's over.
Yeah, like, he's in there smiling, having a blast. And the thing is, like, with Masvidal, albeit, like, that's still a little reckless because Till does hit hard. But I can trust Masvidal a little bit because I've been watching him fight for, like, a while now. Like,
since he was fighting Ray in backyards, man.
Right. Like, Masvidal honestly hasn't changed all that much. Like, he's gotten better, but at his core, I think he's the same guy that we've been seeing for a while. But, like, he's still really good. Like, and I think we've said this about Masvidal before. Like, Masvidal fought a lot of the best guys. Like, his name he didn't always get, like, the accolades. Maybe partially because he might have lost a couple of fights he should have won, here and there. But he's fought the best of the best. Dude has been around this game for a long time. There's probably not much you can really throw at him that he hasn't seen. And I think the worst thing you can give a guy like Masvidal is confidence. Like, if he takes your best shot and you can't put him out, good luck. Because now he's about to start working you. And, like, he's a fighter's fighter. So he's not gonna stop. Like, it's just gonna keep coming until you either put him out or he puts you out. And we all saw how that ended.
Just a quick update here. David Benavidez just absolutely mauled the crap out of Joanne Love.
Hey, there we go.
Like, second round, absolute got his lunch money.
He ran his pockets.
Yeah.
All right, I have to check that out. Shout out to Benavidez. But nah, man, like, props to Masvidal. for one, like I said, long live Strikeforce. Another example of fighters who did not get like their start in the UFC and came over to the UFC and have done very well for themselves. Like I said, Masvidal he's been around this game for so long. Never has an easy fight. Man, he's always fighting. Just look. Darren Till, Wonderboy, Maya, Cerrone, Pearson, Larkin, Bendo, Al Quinta, Pat Healy way back when.
Gilbert.
Gilbert, KJ Noons, Paul Daly. Like, you just look at the names he's fought. And this dude he's been in there with everybody.
Rafael Assunção.
Yeah. Like, it's good to, for one, for him, because he was on a 2-fight skid. So, for one, just good to see him get back in the win column. Two, you get back in the win column in a very emphatic fashion, knocking out somebody who just fought for a title. And you just knocked out a dude who was like 2 weight classes above you, realistically speaking. So, like, Masvidal's just winning at and then he went 2-0 because he fought again in the back.
Got people if a man made his career beating up Kimbo Slice's protege in a backyard, and it was fighting in shipyards in Miami. The dude is about that life, and he will throw hands with you.
For real.
It doesn't matter if you're. it doesn't matter if you're in a fucking parking lot, the backstage of a UFC card, in front of a police station.
Yeah, you catching these hands.
he will fight you if you present the option to him.
And I posted this on Twitter. Gotten quite a amount of retweets and likes. Appreciate y'all. But I'll just say this last bit before we move on to the next fight. About the just a quick, and I don't want to go too much on this because one of our questions is actually kind of sort of about what happened. But Masvidal got into an altercation with Leon Edwards. I won't go into it in full until we get to the question, but I'll just say this a quick part. As someone who spent a large portion of my life in East Baltimore, I've seen a lot of fights. Just a lot of fights. If anybody ever walks towards you with their hands behind their back and they're very calm, you're about to get beat up. You should probably put your hands up and probably stop talking. Anybody who's that calm in a heated situation of words is ready to fight. So,
right.
Leon found that out the hard way. He caught that was the quickest 3-piece I think I've ever seen. But we'll get to that later. We had a fan question, and one of them related to that incident, so we'll revisit that at the end of the episode. But congrats to Masvidal, man. Just great performance, awesome KO, violent KO. Just the man's winning at life. He got the $100,000. Salutes to Jorge, man. The man's just winning. He came back and he's just winning at life. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for Jorge. He's a violent welterweight. Give the man another fight. Whoever wants it, just let him throw hands. He's just one of those guys who's going to give you a good out, night in, night out. It's going to be a good fight.
Really, Kamaru Usman wants it because that's what that's what Ali Abdelaziz said.
He need to fight Leon. But speaking of Leon Edwards, moving on to the co-main event. Leon Edwards took on Gunnar Nelson. Man, I gotta say, I wasn't surprised that Leon won, but I did not think it would be so one-sided. And for anybody who didn't watch the fight, do not pay attention to the judges' scores. How this was even a split decision makes zero sense.
Also, don't pay any attention to freaking Hardy.
What he said, I didn't notice.
The man is just constantly on Gunnar Nelson's balls.
No. Yeah. Well.
If you go back and you watch the Rick Story fight he commentates, where he's like, "Oh, Gunnar Nelson could be up," after he spent the previous 5 rounds getting his ass beat. The man just has like a crush on Gunner.
Well, Gunner caught the blues.
Yeah.
In this fight, I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I wasn't surprised that Edwards won, but I didn't think it would be a shellacking. Leon brought out the paddle and he just spanked Gunner. He just spanked this man for 3 rounds. It was a great fight from Edwards. Like, I really love when fighters do the whole "I'm gonna punish you" coming out the clinch thing, because I feel like that's an opportunity that like not a lot of people take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And
apparently they made a note of it.
Yeah. In those very split-second moments where, you know, a clinch is initiated, and that split second when it's released, and Gunner, you know, drops his guard for a little bit, sneaking a little elbow, you know. I can't say little because they were hard. Like, Leon was, he was clocking Gunner with elbows when they would release from the clinch, and he dropped them with one of them and laid some nice Donkey Kong ground and pound, as I like to call it. Nah, man, Leon just he owned every facet of this fight. Like, all Gunner's game plan is I'm going to try to land this straight, and then I'm going to rush in for a takedown and hope it works. And it didn't. Like, Leon did a great job of controlling distance, like I said, and the clinch fights, when they would exit the clinch, he would always catch him with something coming out of the clinch. He won the grappling exchanges, which was wild to watch. He controlled every single facet of the fight. Like, and it was weird at first because like Gunner's not a guy typically you really want to tango on the ground with. But when you saw how in control he was with the grappling situation, it was like, oh, okay, he's fine. Like, he wasn't really in any. There weren't many parts in this fight where he was in at like any danger. Like,
the end of the third.
Other than the third, he got mounted in like the last
minute.
Yeah, like the last minute, and he ended up surviving that. That could have been bad because that was such a good performance. So luckily that didn't turn into something terrible. But Gunner had nothing for him. Like, and anything Gunner threw, like, Leon had an answer for. And yeah, poor Gunny, he got schooled. Like, Leon really took that man to school and just kind of, like I said, every facet of the fight you can think of, Leon won.
Right.
Like,
so, like, Gunner is not Brian Barberena or Kamaru Usman or who's the other dude who beat Edwards? Well, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Barberena didn't beat Edwards, but he did drop him. Claudio Silva. So he's not like any of those dudes. Like, and we have a good comparison because we saw Claudio Silva fight earlier in the night. He's not aggressive to the point where he's going to make Edwards mess up. Like, Gunner is very much I'm going to pressure you until you do something bad, and then I'm going to hit you with my right hand and then submit you from there. Like, that's Gunner's game, quintessentially. And there's not a lot of meat to it. Like, it's very much relying on him being like a really great athlete and the other guy, falling prey to, like, I guess you could say his aura. But Edwards is nothing but else. But I guess discipline is the word. Like, there are certain phases of like kickboxing he really likes, where he feels comfortable, and when he doesn't feel comfortable, he will get out of dodge as quickly as possible. And if you're not like a Brian Barberena type where you'll throw a 3-punch combination to put Edwards in the spot where he doesn't want to be, you're not going to force him into something he doesn't want to be in. Right. So like,
yeah, he disengaged a couple.
Yeah, no, like he was just like legit. Like, yeah, no, we're not doing this, and then we proceed to circle away.
Yeah, not the foreshadow. He he did what Danny Roberts should have done. in my opinion. We'll get to that though.
We'll get there. But like, and he was the one who when it got to the clinch, Edwards was the one who was initiating the clinch, and he was the one who was controlling the underhooks, and he was the one who was controlling when and where the fight would go to the ground, and like, yeah, Gunnar Nelson's like a great jiu-jitsu fighter, but I think they even said that Edwards mentioned it in their fighter commentary meetings, like where like, when was the last time you ever saw Gunnar Nelson on his back in like MMA, and like. The only answer I could come up with was when Maya, schooled him. And when Jorge Santiago kept putting him on his back. Like, and the other thing is Edwards wasn't giving, like, these weren't traditional, like, jiu-jitsu, like, phase of the game. It was, like, very much a ride-heavy attack from Edwards when he would take Gunnar down. Like all around, just a really smart performance. Like, and that's not even mentioning the elbows he was throwing on the inside, because he threw like the one that caught Gunnar in the second round and really hurt him. Like, that was a really nice one, but like there were other ones he was throwing in the fight where he was basically just in distance, and like Gunnar was not doing anything, so he would just come over the top of the elbow. And like his team said before the fight, like, Gunner's a karate dude. He's used to having his hands low. So every time we disengage from the clinch, he's going to put his hands low to look to strike. So we're just going to come over the top of the elbows and punches on the inside. And turned out it was the most meaningful offense of the whole fight.
It literally worked every single time. Like every single time it worked.
That's some what was that? DC CP Miocic level stuff. Where that's just stuff you pick up on.
And it's like, Edwards' game isn't like super flashy, but just good fight IQ, just a good mixture of using your talents to the best of their abilities and being just smart about what you do,
Right.
It was just like he fought like almost a perfect fight, like I said, he did get mounted in the third with like a minute left, but he did everything you would want somebody to do against Gunnar other than get a finish.
Like I said, man, like his run has been more impressive to me than Darren Till's. It hasn't been as flashy. It doesn't have like the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson knockdown, but like you have seen him grow into a complete fighter from the dude who got out wrestled by like Claudio Silva in his first UFC fight. Like, he's 9-2 in the UFC.
Yeah, with wins over, let's see, we got Seth Brzezinski, Vicente Luque, Albert Tumanov, Barberena, Cerrone Nelson, and, Peter Sabata. Forgot, he knocked him out. Yeah, so he's got a lot of quality wins under his belt. And, like, within, like, the last, I would say, like, 3 to 4, like, he's looked really good. So, like, clearly he's getting better.
I still have questions about, like, when so much of your game is wrestling based and you're more of a jack of all trades than you are a specialist in a division where all the specialists tend to be really good, like, wrestlers. I still have questions about, how he handles the top of the division. Like, we've seen him against Kamaru Usman, and to his credit, he gave Kamaru trouble in that fight, if I remember right. Like, it was not, like, it was one-sided, but Usman struggled with, like, the takedown and stuff like that. But yeah, no, that like, I'm interested to see those fights. Like, he has the setup for the Masvidal fight now, so why not?
Yeah, that's we got all the storyline and promo footage we need. But yeah, man, great performance from Edwards, man. Just almost a flawless performance. Well, real quick, no. Why was the crowd booing him and cheering Gunner?
Two reasons. Apparently, at the weigh-in / pre-fight conference, Edwards was very vocal about the fact that he should be in the main event over Till. And Till is the hometown boy, so.
Oh, okay. They didn't appreciate that.
Yeah. Also, Gunnar Nelson closely linked to one Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's true.
So he is just kind of popular all over Europe. So.
Yeah, guess what, guys? Edwards probably should have been in that main event.
Yep. Hey, Till would have had a better shot against Edwards than he did against Masvidal.
Yeah.
For all of Edwards' skills, volume and pressure are not either of them.
Well, too late for all that noise now.
Yep.
But, nah, man, great performance from Edwards, man. He really just shut Gunner down. That's pretty much all there is to say. And somehow it was a split decision. Don't understand that.
Some wonky ass refereeing and judging on this fight card.
Yeah. But moving on to another fight, there was a split decision. Dominic Reyes and Volkan Oezdemir had a little scrap, feature of 205 hanging in the balance. I knew this was going to be a tough outing for Reyes. For Volkan's just one of those dudes that I feel like Volkan's like the super prototype of a 205er. Like, I can hit hard, I'm really tough, and I hit hard. That's 205 in a nutshell, and he does that really well. While Reyes won this fight by the skin of his teeth, I definitely think Volkan gave him a lot of problems. He definitely showed some holes in Reyes' game that he may need to fix and then work on. I don't know if I don't like really using the R word, the robbery, because I thought it was a pretty close fight. I feel like this fight probably depends on how you scored the first round, because I think I gave the second to Volkan, and I think Reyes stole the third. He started to land a lot of good body shots in the third round, and I think those kind of stole him the fight. He was starting to, I don't say pick it up, but he was working a little more in the third. So I think it kind of came down to how you scored the first round. But Volkan did a really good job of it looked like he just had Reyes really uncomfortable in a lot of that fight, because he just constant pressure, man. Volkan just never backs down. Like, the dude is just always in your face, and he hits crazy hard. He just kind of it looked like he had Reyes on alert a lot of the time. But, I mean, good on Reyes. He moves around a lot. He tries to keep himself out of bad spots, but he did get tagged. He did get tagged a couple of times. I kind of wish what he did in the third he would have did earlier in the fight, like as far as just like more body shots and just more output. Because I think they mentioned it during the somebody said it during the broadcast that it didn't really seem like he had like much of a game plan. He was just kind of fighting, and
I don't think that's fair.
I don't know. I think he easily could have. I didn't say easily. He definitely could have lost this fight. This fight definitely could have went the other way. I think that pressure just really did like kind of get to him. Like he just seemed really uncomfortable at first. He is another guy. He moves a lot, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's on one hand, like, it's good. You don't want to be like you don't want to be a stationary target. But I was just thinking that, like, when I saw him he does so much movement that I'm like, if this was a title fight, could you keep that up for 5 rounds? Where you're constantly shifting to your left, to your right, trying to evade. Like, he's never really sitting still. He's never really sitting still too much. Like, he doesn't really give himself a break. But, you know, it was a tough fight. It was a close fight. I don't know. It was just a really tough fight. I wish I had more like specific to say. Just like I said, what he did in the third, I would like to see more of earlier, because I think he can get like really creative with the strikes. He can put together combinations. He can go to the body. He did for like early in the fight. He was throwing a couple of head kicks, and then there were just moments in between that where it just seems like he was kind of out there just trying really hard not to get his head taken off. Which I mean, I can't really fault him for, because Volkan's a killer, so you don't want to catch one of them 1-2s. But no, he definitely had to work for him. This is probably the hardest fight that Reyes was in. He definitely had to work for every inch of this win. So congrats to Reyes. At least we saw, I would say, a fight where he got, you know, it was somebody who wasn't going to go away, and he still found a way to inch out a win. So good on him for that. But yeah, really tough fight for Reyes.
Yeah, like you said, the pressure from Vulcan was definitely like, this is what happens when the guy Reyes is fighting does not overextend and give him the big counter opportunity that we're used to seeing him put guys away with. Like I had Reyes winning the last 2 rounds pretty definitively, to be honest. I thought he did the cleaner work. I thought he landed more. I thought Vulcan's output just dropped drastically after that first round. I'm not in the boat like where everybody else was like, oh, this just shows that Reyes can't beat Jones, or Reyes is not that good or whatever. Like he's 5 years into his fighting career, and this is like the first time he has had a tough fight. And this is good. This is good. This is good. This is like you need you need to know where you're bad at, and you need to know where you can improve, and you need to know that you can lose the first round and then come back and win the fight late. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and better to find that out now in this fight than in a title fight.
Right, like there's a good shot Johnny Walker will fight for the UFC title. We still won't know if he's any good until after like John Jones finishes beating his ass for like 5 rounds,
right.
Like Anthony Smith style. But like I do think he moves a little bit too much. I think he'd be better off like going for more takedowns, or trying to get back to the center of the cage at least. Like he was doing it, but it felt like he was taking like a lot of really long routes, especially since Vulcan is not a very fast dude. Like he has fast hands, but like when it comes to foot speed, he is. I think that's what really saved Reyes in this fight. Like Vulcan is not the quickest dude on the feet with his feet. And Reyes was just kind of able to blow past him a few times to get back to the center, as opposed to like having to, really outmaneuver him. What I would like, like I said, I really liked this fight for Reyes moving forward, because he needs to know what he needs to be better. He needs ring time. He needs cage time. Like that's the most important thing. Like blowing guys out 30 seconds into every fight is not good for your development. Like it catches up to everybody. It caught up to Ronda Rousey. Damn it! Like it eventually leaves you with a lot of giant holes you need to fill.
Right.
I don't really have a lot to say from like the technical aspect of this fight. Like I said, Ozdemir did a really good job of just staying over his feet and not overextending to get knocked out or countered very severely. But his output did wane in the last 2 rounds. In part because of the body shots, in part because that's just Volkan Ozdemir. He's going to fade late into a fight. He's very much like he lives up to his name. He's no time. Like he's a guy who gets after it quick, gets after it early, and if he doesn't, he kind of settles into a pace that's just a little bit slower, a little bit more predictable, and that's what Reyes needed to climb his way back in the fight in the last 2 rounds. Also, really great use of the leg kick. Whenever Reyes would go for a kick, Volkan would counter with his own kick and just come underneath the kick of Reyes and kick the back leg. Like that was some really slick stuff.
Who should Reyes get next?
If the UFC was smart, I would have said Smith, but even then, that might have been not a step too high, but that might have been. Oh well, now he has to fight for a title. If I'm the UFC,
Because I feel like he's like
he's in that dangerous space where you don't want to give him the title challenger because
he could.
Well,
lose.
he would lose. I think that's the thing. Like I'd say.
But the thing is, like,
you don't like. You can put him in there with Glover, but Glover doesn't have anything for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he's almost in that spot where it's like you can't backtrack. Like Volkan is kind of like the top, still considered like the top of that division. So you can't really backtrack and fight like I don't know.
Ilya Latifi.
Yeah.
Like, this is why this division is so hard to build anybody in. It's because like Volkan is a competent fighter, and there's not a whole bunch of other ones who will give you the type of test you want for a prospect. But at the same time, Volkan's also like a title challenger, which is kind of what you don't want your prospects to have to like be instantly flung into. Right. Maybe you just bite the bullet and do the Glover fight, or do you want to risk Corey Anderson? Do you want to keep these guys on separate tracks just so you have somebody who can fight for the title?
Yeah, because I was gonna say because the only other person out there in the wing is Johnny Walker. I forgot. Has it been confirmed that who's getting the next title shot? I forgot.
It's Santos.
It's Santos. Okay, yeah. So then you got Johnny Walker out in the wing because he just killed Serkinov. Do you put you put your two young bulls against each other and just kind of see what happens?
I'd say no, just because John's gonna fight 4 times this year, and you need to make sure there's somebody waiting for him.
Right.
Like I almost want to say, just run the Volkan fight back. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the test right there. That's the slow, like pressure fighter who has a decent reach of his own. I don't know. Maybe you just do the Latifi fight, or like a Glover fight, or an Anderson fight, like
Shogun.
Ranked number 14.
That still counts.
Hold
on, Corey did. I thought Corey had a fight lined up.
Not that I see.
Maybe
he just beat Latifi at 232.
Okay. All right, that's cool then. Yeah, I actually would like the Corey fight then, because I think I ain't gonna say Corey would give him problems, but it's somebody. Like I guess that's all I can say. Like it's somebody who's also like meddling somewhere in the top of that division somewhere. He's in like the top 10. It's somebody to keep him busy. But I don't think that's like a cakewalk. I think it's a winnable fight, definitely. But
well, that's right. Glover's fighting Ian Cutelaba. See, that might be a good fight for. that would have been a good fight for
Yeah,
Reyes, but
for Reyes.
oh well.
I like the Corey fight. I like that.
Yeah. If only because like I don't think they envision Corey Anderson as like a title contender.
Yeah. And I think after the Vulcan fight, I want to see like one more. I think I need to see Reyes like one more time before I can comfortably say like, all right, he's title ready. He's ready. Let me see like one more. But I mean, either way, still a solid performance from him. Like you said, showed that he can at least he can battle back from adversity. Y'all, it's 11:43. It's past my old man bedtime. I'm deranged. But he can battle back from adversity. So that's a good thing. Like I said, you always want to see that in a prospect. So like we know what he looks like past the second round now, or he's gone. Has he gone to this?
OSP. But
Yeah.
OSP also
So
got knocked out into the first round. So
yeah. So we know what a 3-round Reyes looks like, and now we know what a Reyes kind of like, I guess you could say like with his back against the wall somewhat looks like, and at least he can find a way to gut out a win. So shout out to Dominic Reyes, man, continuing the 205 climb, still undefeated. So definitely looking forward to seeing him next. Moving on down to bantamweight, we got Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Quinones.
Jose.
Jose.
Okay. He is Mexican, not Brazilian.
Yeah. Jose Quinones. All I really remember from this fight is Jose doing a lot of bouncing around from the outside, head kind of straight up. I thought Wood did a good job of countering every time Jose would bounce around the outside and like throw a leg kick. Nathaniel would counter him pretty well. And when Quinones, he was trying to work the ground game. And once that didn't work, to me it kind of seemed like a matter of time before Wood was gonna win. Because like none of the shots that Quinones landed really seemed to like discourage Wood at all, or
right,
really give him any reason to like not keep pushing forward. Like Wood was just trying to cover distance to get in and just kind of land and just let me catch this guy who keeps bouncing around all over the place. And like I said, he did a good job of countering him. He caught him with a couple of hooks. Just he landed a couple of good shots, and the shots that Quinones landed just weren't really anything of like much substance or super effective. He was just kind of just getting in and out. And Wood just seemed to be the stronger guy. I love the ending, like that nice trip that he landed to take Quinones down.
Nice and simple and casual.
Yeah, just let's try this real quick. just kind of tripped him, took him down, took his back, choked him out. Hey man, Nathaniel Wood was 2-0.
3-0, yeah, 3-0.
3-0. So I mean, good on him. I wish I had more, but I just feel like this fight didn't really give me a ton.
Yeah, like Jose Alberto Quinones is like he's fine. He's a good-ish bantamweight, but this just kind of felt like they were feeding Wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, throw him in in front of his hometown crowd. You give him somebody that he's most likely nine times out of 10 he's gonna get a win over.
Right. Like there was just like a physicality difference between the two. Like as soon as they tied up, you could tell. But not taking anything away from Wood, who did the job he was supposed to do and went out there and got the stoppage win. Like Quinones just definitely like never looked comfortable being in there with him. No. I mean, like, yeah, no, just not a lot to say. Like, just solid performance from Wood. Did what he had to do. got the nice winner from his hometown. I hope they match him up with somebody. I was about to say like good. Somebody rough for him. Like I want to see him tested.
Yeah, because at this point it's almost hard to judge. Like I know he's good. He's definitely talented, but it's kind of hard to gauge his ceiling, I guess, or just try to figure out like where his placement is.
Yeah, because like his two prior fights to this were Johnny Eduardo, who fights like maybe once every year and a half, and is just ridiculously not good on the ground. Like he's not Jose Aldo's jiu-jitsu coach. He's his Muay Thai coach, and we know why. And Andre Ewell, who, you know, he had the big win over Hedin Barrel on short notice, but you've kind of seen that Hedin Barrel was just kind of toast at this point. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping we see him against like a Cody Stamann type. Maybe not that step up so soon, but like somebody in that.
Yeah, somebody in that mold.
Somebody from that 11 to 20 range at bantamweight.
Yeah. So we'll see though, but good on Nathaniel. Just like I said, this fight was just you saw Quinones doing a lot of bouncing around, but you knew it was only a matter of time before Wood was going to get the W. He just needed to land something or just have one instance where the fight went his way, and he got his little trip, and that was all she wrote. So he won by rear naked choke in the second round. Moving on down to welterweight, Claudio Silva versus Danny Roberts.
Claudio Silva, man. Dude's 4-fight winning streak in the UFC is. But it's Brad Scott, it's Leon Edwards, Nordine Taleb, and now freaking Danny Roberts.
That's pretty solid. That's a pretty solid win streak. And then in this fight, man, he really had to, he took some licks, man.
He took some licks, some generous refereeing. But he got the job done, I guess. He
got it done. And you know what? I feel for Danny because you don't want to see a fight end like that. Like it just, and for those who didn't see it, basically the ending sequence was Silva had Danny in an armbar, and Danny was, I guess, in the process of like rolling out of it, but I guess he let out like a grunt, which the referee.
Silva had the armbar locked in, and Danny Roberts doing what I assume his coaches had probably told him not to do. Like, tries to lift him up with the arm that is currently being armbarred and slam Silva on his head. And in the process, lets out like a grunt, like I'm lifting something. It sounded more along the lines of I'm lifting something very heavy and not so much I'm in great pain here. Please save me.
And the referee thought otherwise.
He looked like he was looking for a reason to stop the fight.
But either way, in that second of confusion, the referee took it as a sign that he was in pain, so he stopped it. But I was going to say, I almost felt like in this fight that Danny, at moments, wasn't really doing himself any favors. Like, Danny stanky-legged him, I think, in the second. There was a couple of moments where he was clocking Silva.
How do you rock somebody so hard and then not, like, at the end of I was not even sure he won a round in that fight. Like, I'm pretty sure Silva won the first 2 rounds, despite getting seriously hurt in that second.
I don't know. Like, he would stanky leg Silva. There was one, I don't know if it was the second round, first or the second. Like, he had stanky legged him, had him on the ground, was landing some pretty good ground and pound. But he would always, no matter what happened, no matter how many times he rocked Silva, he would always find a way to get taken back to the ground. Either it would be him engaging, in which I thought he just should have disengaged and tried to just keep it on the feet, because he kept clocking him so many times. Either he would initiate a clinch or something and get taken down, or one of the knockdowns, Silva I thought he was dying, but he just never stopped going for the takedown. Like, the man just wouldn't let go, and he just took Danny down, and, he just kept going. And it was just like Danny for every good moment he had, there were 5 more bad moments where he just kept getting put in bad positions. And then there was the whole, I didn't notice it. I should have paid more attention to it when I rewatched it. But there was a moment where Danny had got taken down and he used his feet to roll off the cage, but apparently he had his foot in the cage.
The ref said that he had his toes in the cage, which I didn't think, but I didn't have, I think the camera angle that I saw was not good. But at the same time, Claudio Silva complained because Claudio Silva had an armbar attempt that was looking pretty deep before the ref was like, nope. He put his feet in the cage, so we're going back to mount.
You got it right. Yeah, it was weird.
Claudio Silva was just ridiculously strong and really good at grappling. Because
yeah, man, that dude is.
There's a dude who's been in the UFC for like 5 years and only has like 4 fights, but they're all quality wins.
Yeah, and like I said, he had to work to get this one, man. He took some licks. And the man just never went away. And I don't know, I felt like Danny could have won this. And every time he would engage in grappling, I was like, this isn't going to end well. He's going to catch you with something. And he got caught. And it was, not only did he get caught, just the way it ended with like that controversy, it just kind of poured some extra salt on the wound. And it's like, this didn't have to go like this.
I mean, didn't it though? It's a Danny Roberts fight.
It's just one of those fights you just, I like Danny Roberts, but God, this fight it was very frustrating to watch. Because I felt like even when he was doing good, I was like, something's gonna happen, and he keeps putting himself in bad situations. It keeps happening. He's not going to keep escaping these. And he got armbarred for his trouble.
While escaping.
You're right. While escaping. So it is what it is. But like you said, for Claudio, man, he's continuing to rack up impressive wins.
10 years from now, he's going to be fighting for the title.
Yeah, he'll him and Sun Sal will get title shots 20 years from now.
I kind of feel for him. Like he's in like that Rafael Sun Sal. I'm Brazilian, but I'm not I don't live in Brazil.
Oh yeah, he lives.
He lives like across the street from the O2. He has a gym right there, like right up the road. Like he's a Brenner. He's been there for like 12 years apparently. But like he's in the Rafael Sun Sal boat where like, okay, you spent over a decade living in like this other country to train for MMA, and now you don't really have a Brazilian audience that like roots for you, and you're not really popular where you are. So like, what are we supposed to do with you promotionally?
You're in UFC purgatory.
You're in no man's land. Like these people were booing him for beating Danny. Well, they were booing him before he beat Danny Roberts. Like I can understand why they were booing at the end because they didn't like the ref's decision, but like there's a dude who considers himself British, but the fans don't.
My advice, Claudio: everybody's got a gimmick. Just you're gonna have to find your gimmick. Hope it sticks. But yeah, good win on Claudio. Just, hey man, jiu-jitsu, it pays off. It pays off.
Jiu-jitsu.
Just be relentless. just be relentless with it, man. It pays
Honey
off.
Yayas make a career out just subbing random dudes, man. You can too.
Oh man, but yeah, props to Claudio Silva. He took some hard hits, but he got it done in the third round. So congrats to him. And rounding out the main card, we had Jack Marshman versus John Phillips. Not a ton to really say about this fight, other than John Phillips wanted to stand and bang. Jack Marshman said, "I'm gonna kind of chill.
I'm gonna use my brain."
Yeah, I'm gonna fight from the outside and I'm gonna try to hit you, but make it to where you can't hit me as much because I'm gonna use my dad bod footwork, and I'm not going to give in to your demands of let's just bang, bro. Like he didn't.
There were a lot of beer and steaks in this fight, or whatever the Welsh equivalent of steak is.
Yeah.
Which I assume is lamb. I'm not basing that on anything. I don't know anything about Wales.
This was definitely a tough dad fight.
This fight let Wales down.
Yeah, yeah, I don't really got much.
The most interesting part about this fight was the part where Phillips won it and then proceeded to let it go because I don't know. Yeah. He knocks Marshman down in the first round, like bows, like full on butler bows to Marshman so that he stands back up. And then proceeds to get outboxed for the next 10 minutes of the fight. It's amazing.
That's MMA in a nutshell. That's just I don't know, man. This was I can't even say it was a middleweight fight because it was at catchweight at 188 pounds, but it was a middleweight fight, bro.
In pure essence, yes.
Yeah, that's
the most interesting part about this fight was finding out that Jack Marshman deserted the Wales army so that he could do it to participate.
Yeah, so he left the army, fought, won, and according to him, he will find out his punishment.
He's gonna get court-martialed. You're gonna be like, we're not court-martialing you because you left. We're court-martialing you because your fight sucked. We all watched it.
He did not do his country proud.
They were all John Phillips fans.
Oh boy, but hey man, it is what it
Win's
is.
A win.
So hopefully, a win. Yeah, that is true. Win's a win. You still got paid. Hopefully your punishment isn't too Best of luck to you, Mr. Marshman, sir. That's all I got. But Jack Marshman won via split decision. Make of that what you will. I don't got nothing for you. Moving on to the ESPN Plus prelim portion of the card. The first fight, which I will not be able to give a ton of insight into because I watched it, but I didn't watch it. Arnold Allen versus Jordan Rinaldi. All I remember in this fight there were punches thrown, there were kicks thrown, and then there were flurries every now and again, which I guess Allen seemed to get the better of, and that's just how this kind of played out for 3 rounds.
I'm sorry, I completely blacked out there. What were we talking about?
That might be a sign we should just move on. But Arnold Allen and Mr. Ronaldo.
Arnold Allen has. Oh my God! Arnold Allen has a problem where he likes to cruise in fights, and kind of fight down to the level of his competition. Like he has no second gear. He has, I shouldn't even say that because the fights where he's losing and then comes back in the third round when he wakes up. He obviously has something else inside of him that wakes up when he's in trouble. But other than that, he's more than happy to just cruise to a decision win. Rinaldi was too slow to actually be a threat or do anything. And Allen proceeded to just pick him apart, at the slowest pace possible. Except for the last 30 seconds of each round where he would just flurry Rinaldi and actually hurt him really badly. Kind of just bringing home the point that he probably could have finished this fight at any point he felt like it. But that's not Arnold Allen. He prefers to, I don't know, just breeze his way through the fight game.
Allen gonna Allen. But as we said earlier, a win is a win. So you got a nice unanimous.
I mean, is
decision,
it though?
So congrats.
This wasn't for Welsh pride.
I don't know. If nothing else, he lived to fight another day. His phone will ring again.
Just to add a little bit of energy after those couple of dreary fights. Errol Spence woke up because he's just throwing this. He's just out here throwing long ass combinations and punctuating them with body shots right now. They are currently in the 6th round.
How's it looking?
Mike Spence is going to break Garcia in the next 3 rounds.
All right. We'll keep you guys updated during that, and we'll probably break that down next week since between now and then I'll have a chance to watch it. So we'll give you guys a nice little breakdown of that. But Arnold Allen beat Jordan Rinaldi via unanimous decision. Moving on down, fight I was pretty excited to see. Mark Diakese, Joseph Duffy. Pretty fun fight. Awesome for Diakese to get a win. Like we said, we always say this at lightweight. Like everybody's good, or everybody just has like some kind of talent, like even outside of the top 15. So it's lightweight. It's really hard to tread the waters, like because everybody you fight is good, and then unfortunately for Mark, man, he went on a 3-fight skid against Ricard, Dan Hooker, and Little Gastelum, which is I'm not gonna say it's a murderer's row, but it's those are 3 really solid fights.
Yeah. And notably, 2 of them are really good pressure fight. Well, not really good, but they are committed pressure fighters. Like Hooker's not a committed pressure fighter, but he's a high volume type of dude. Or should I say he's a guy who will keep a good pace. Joe Duffy is not. Joe Duffy is very much a relaxed, I'm going to fight at my pace, an open space kickboxer, and he paid for that against Diakese, who just proved to be way faster and way more versatile, and just kicked the ever-living crap out of his lead, like, no matter which one he put in front.
His calf was dead by the end of the first round, like, when they zoomed in on it in the corner. He lit Duffy
Dude, that
up.
thing was twice the size of his other leg.
Right. And I like that, man. Like, Mark, when he got to the point right away, he was lighting that calf up. Just good performance from Mark. Like I said, great work with the calf kick. He caught Duffy with a beautiful, like, step-in elbow that rocked him. Like I said, he was quicker to the punch. I will say I thought Duffy in the 3rd round like tried to turn it up. Like he realized like, oh, I'm definitely losing this fight. I probably should, I need to do something. But nah, man, like I said, Mark was just quicker to the punch, way more creative offensively. Then they did get into a few like grappling exchanges.
His wrestling looks a lot better.
Yeah, like he actually managed to get from my terrible memory. I think he managed to get the better of like.
Oh yeah, no, he was out wrestling him. Like one of the problems with his wrestling game coming up was just like so much of it was based on him just being the stronger, more athletic dude. Like here, he looked like Duffy's leading that way, so I'm going to pull him down this way. Like it was a much more technical, thoughtful wrestling attack.
Yeah, I think overall he fought a lot smarter.
Yeah.
Like he really took his time in this fight, and like everything just kind of worked for him. Like it all slowed down for him. Like everything just kind of clicked. But like I said, it was great to see him win. He was really emotional after the fight. You know, dude was just like crying the entire time. Man, lightweight is so tough. Like, like he has this great moment in this fight, and it's like, who knows who you're gonna get your next fight? Like, it's gonna be, Lord. But I mean, as for now though, just really good performance. He showed the best of his abilities, and he seemed like really mentally sharp. So hopefully that leads to good things, because he's somebody who he's the kind of guy I wouldn't want to see get cut, because I feel like he's one of those guys who night in and night out he's gonna give you a good fight, an entertaining fight, regardless if the UFC's around. I think he's the kind of guy who will always have a job, but I want to see him stick around more. Like he had a 3-fight skid, and hopefully this is a turnaround point. Hopefully, man, for Duffy though, his UFC run has not it's not been what I thought. I mean, it's not terrible, but he's on a 2-fight skid now, so it's not the best position to be in. But either way, Mark Diakase got the win via unanimous decision, and he looked really awesome doing it. So congrats to him. Moving on to this next fight, which I honestly don't want to spend a lot of time on, but it was shenanigans, so we got to cover some of it. Saperbek Safarov and Nikolai. Lord, I don't know how to say it. Did he say his last name during this fight? I don't remember it.
Nikolai Negumereanu.
We're just gonna call him Nikolai. This fight was just straight shenanigans.
That was good, dude.
It made sense that this fight was the 205 fight. I didn't even think about this until afterwards, but now this fight, being that it was at 205, makes so much more sense.
So Nick Mariano. Yeah, no, he's bad. I don't mean that like a positive. Like, he is bad. Like this, like that was some of the worst striking I've seen in the UFC in a minute. Like he was throwing standing hammer fist. That was his overhand right.
Yeah.
Like we talked a little bit about it before, but like the dude, like one of the dudes he beat on the regional scene was 12-41. Like his only win over, like he has a couple wins over like guys with a winning record, but they're like 2-1 and 3-2, or 7-5.
Yeah.
Like, he beat up cab drivers and like guys who had never fought before.
Yeah. Yeah, this fight was just shenanigans. Like, and Safarov didn't. If it weren't for the shenanigans, this would be a pretty decent performance, I guess. Like, Safarov's not all that great, but you know he's a light heavyweight. He can hit hard.
Competent enough.
Kind of, I guess.
Except when it comes to following the rules, which.
Yeah. He has some ferocious ground and pound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his ground and pound, he hits ridiculously hard with ground and pound. But yeah, as far as the rules go, apparently Safarov didn't get the memo that grabbing the fence is illegal, as he did it like an upwards of 5 to 6 times, and I'm not exaggerating.
He did it like 10 times. Like you did it 10 times. And in all fairness to Safarov, like the ref should have taken the point like the second or third time.
Yeah. He slapped Safarov's hand like it was a child like 20 times before he finally took a point. And then why was Nikolai grabbing the fence when he was on the ground?
He was trying to climb up. If we're being real, could we just make it legal to grab the fence?
Oh boy.
Legalize fence grabbing.
I don't know.
Yeah. I want to see somebody tear their finger in the fence.
Boy, Safarov grabbed that fence for dear life. I think Dan Hardy just got pissed in the second round. I just called him a dirty
Well,
fighter.
that's because the ref stepped in to tell Safarov, that, I'm about to take a point, stop fighting, and Safarov threw an elbow. But in all fairness, the ref had stepped in like a few minutes earlier. Basically, got between Safarov and the fight and Nick Negume. I don't know even bother with his last name. Got between Safarov and Nick, and it was just like, and they just kept the fight keep going. So I understand where Safarov's confusion came from.
Yeah, this was just a shenanigans 205 fight. Safarov beat Nikolai via unanimous decision.
Last bit, like before we move on, dude, his corner should have stopped the fight after the second round.
Yeah, he got pummeled in that sec. He got pummeled in that second
Like,
round.
was that the round where his eye just blew up?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, his corner could have saved all of us. Like, we could have not seen that third round.
This card could have ended 5 minutes early.
Yeah. I have to imagine after that fight, Nikolai, they're probably not calling your phone again.
I mean, everybody needs a body.
No,
they gotta get content.
That means the next time they call you, you're getting fed.
I hope you're gonna be happy welcoming, like, I don't know. I don't even know who's out there for the UFC to sign it, feed him to. What about the Brazilian dude? The kickboxer, Alex Pereira. I hope you're gonna be happy welcoming Alex Pereira to the UFC.
Is he still coming? Because he just signed another contract with Glory.
No idea. I'm just pulling names out, man. They're gonna sign the M1 light heavyweight champion and bring him to fucking beat Nick up.
They're gonna bring back Phil Davis. Ron Bader. It's gonna be the call out. I don't know. Nikolai, they're not calling your phone again, bro. If they do, don't answer. They're gonna feed you to somebody who's gonna kill you. But that was that fight, man. That's 205. We're gonna 205. It is what it is. Moving on to a fight that was entertaining for the minute or so that it lasted. Dan Ige and Danny Henry. Henry came in as like a 6'5" featherweight. Got hands put on him. Got choked out.
Yep.
That's pretty much how that fight went.
Shouts to his post-fight speech. Talking about the shootings in New Zealand this past week. Just showing off for those people. Like good performance all around from Ige. Like not a whole, but like dropped, hurt Henry with the left hook. You know what? Actually, I really liked his posting when Ige had him hurt and put him along the fence and got on top of him to start dropping like the hammer fist, as opposed to crowding himself. He kind of just he just started pushing Henry's head down, and from there was able to just that's the path. That's what opened up the path for him to take the back and get the rear naked choke. So just really slick stuff from Ige.
Speaking of post fights, was that Claudio Silva whose post fight interview was like 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of it, but like I looked away and looked back, and he was still talking, and then like I went downstairs and came back, and he was talking.
Not happy with British fans.
It's like, bro, why y'all still have the mic in front of this man's face?
We're not going to see him again until 2021, so
right.
Let him talk.
That was the longest post-fight interview. But shout outs to Ige though. He gave Danny Henry the business. Moving down to women's flyweight, we had Molly McCann versus Priscilla Cachoeira.
Speaking of people who died in the cage before, God, Priscilla.
Yeah, that was probably as close to a death as That was uncomfortable to
Death
watch.
by like a million elbows.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't die in this fight. Still caught some hands, but
Yep. Molly McCann,
Mal-
good at one thing, but that one thing is fun. So I'm always happy to see her.
yeah, like I just thought she just had more, like just more to offer, like offensively. Like she just was more creative. I feel like she just went in there. Was like, I'm just gonna throw. Like she's gonna do
Like
whatever.
my comparison was like she's like Johnny Hendricks if Johnny Hendricks couldn't knock somebody out with one punch or wrestle. Like
She
she's
was
just
throwing
such a
hands.
like she's just like such a fun and like different pocket boxer than we're used to seeing in MMA. Like how many people you know in the sport bob and weave all the way down by their knees?
They were throwing hands. She was throwing spinning stuff. I think at one point, didn't she almost catch him like an arm
She
bar?
tried to hit Becky Lynch's finisher.
Molly was out there going for it, man.
Also,
Yeah, she just had more just more tools. It just seemed like.
it's not even that. It's just she was better at the one thing she's really good at. That like Priscilla Cachoeira was like her main thing is that she's just really tough.
Yeah, and that didn't work. I mean, she landed some good hits, but she ate a lot.
I mean, she blew the fuck up out of Molly's eye. I'll give her that.
Yeah, I think that happened like the
Yeah,
third.
that thing was broken.
Yeah, that was bad, and it happened.
The funny thing was like after Molly obviously lost vision in one of her eyes, she proceeded not to get hit for the rest of the fight.
Molly the GOAT. And Priscilla, the cheap shot. Come on.
I mean, if you're losing.
Nah, man. That was extra. So, you guys who didn't see. So, I forgot, was that the start of the round, or was that...
I think it was a restart.
Yeah, it was a restart from something, and they're going in to presumably touch hands, and Priscilla turns it from touching hands to I'm going for a Muay Thai clinch.
And then proceeds to like poke Molly in the eye.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It looked like that was a dirty shot. She tried to explain herself. I wasn't buying it.
I mean,
that was a dirty shot.
Protect
That was the
yourself
shot
at
that
all
let me
times,
know.
No. Protect yourself at all times.
That was a shot that let me know you were getting hands put on you, and that was like your one opportunity to land something. And
you know how I know
it.
Molly deserved it though? Because when they went to restart again, what did she do?
She shouldn't have touched hands.
You see, Priscilla should have done it again.
Yeah. Now see, if she would have did it the second time, I'd have been like, all right, Molly, you should have. Yeah.
Molly,
but Molly's a good sport.
She was a really good sport, especially considering like she had the Instagram video her post-fight press conference because she had to go to the hospital for that eye.
Yeah,
that orbital is broken.
It's weird because like if you see her eye and you would think she spent the entire fight like getting pummeled, and that's not what happened.
No, that was just off of one punch.
Yeah, she caught one bad one and it just kind of, poof, it just kind of blew up. But no, yeah, good on Molly. Like I said, she's fun. She's a character. She's anytime Molly gets in there, you should just watch and just see what happens. But no, props to Molly. She got the unanimous decision. Hope the eye is good because that did look pretty bad, but she got the win nonetheless. And the last fight rounding out the card is Mike Grundy versus Nad Narimani. I don't remember this fight in detail other than I remember really enjoying this fight. Like, I think Nad had put some hands on Grundy, and then out of nowhere, Grundy stanky legged him, and he had a mini comeback. I don't remember the fight in like specific detail, but I remember it being fun.
I think Narimani was surprised by Grundy's like speed with his hands early on, especially since Grundy doesn't really have any didn't have any finished stoppages by TKO heading into this fight. He was just mostly submissions and a few decisions. And Grundy's corner but at the same time, he's still really green. And Grundy's corner told him after the first round, "Stop watching your work. You're gonna get knocked out. Make sure you bring your hands back to your head and you move." Narimani managed to catch Grundy as he was staring at some of his work, rocked him really badly, and proceeded to throw the fight away, getting check left hooked by Grundy, who walloped him with a left hook and then proceeded to finish him standing.
Life happens fast. Yeah, it was a fun one though. It was a nice back and forth.
Stokes is out of $10 because Mikey Garcia is just getting his career shortened at this point. This is not fun to watch. It is a smaller man getting beat up by a bigger man who fights like the smaller man with something to prove.
He knew what he signed up.
He did. This could have easily been Vasily Lomachenko.
Shout out to Errol Spence, man, out here handling business. But Mike Grundy got Narimani out there, TKO round 2. It was definitely a fun fight. Nice way to kick off the card. But yeah, that was UFC London. Overall, it's actually a pretty good card in my opinion. Like it was, for one, as always, anytime cards end like before 10 o'clock, it's just an amazing thing. So you just on the strength alone, you have to appreciate that. But like we got some good fights. Even the prelims, like I said, the Grundy Narimani was a nice fight to kick off the card, and you had Molly doing Molly stuff. Like most of the prelims were good, minus the the Safarov fight was cool. Not cool is not a good word. It was interesting because of the shenanigans, but it wasn't really that great of a fight. But like they were pretty quality fights, like all throughout this card. Like I said, maybe the only two. Take off Marshman Phillips, Safarov fight. Got yourself a pretty solid card. Like you got a nice quality violence, some good finishes. You got to see, Reyes continue his climb. Leon Edwards had a great performance. Jorge Masvidal just ended the night in like the best way possible with just a death KO. Like it was a pretty solid. It was a solid night of fights. And I think the best part was we got some unexpected storylines. Jorge, Leon, wink wink, that came out of this. So no, I was pretty entertained. It was on ESPN Plus. So if you have ESPN Plus, you can go back and watch. They are, they pretty much post them like right after the fights are over. So I would say go back and watch the card. Like I said, maybe you can skip Marshman Phillips and you can skip Safarov and Nicolay. But I think the rest of this is pretty decent. Pretty much worth watching. So, shout out to all the fighters, man. It was a pretty solid night of fights. Good way to spend the Saturday evening and have everything be done by like 7 o'clock, which is just awesome. Cannot thank ESPN.
Wow, Garcia's corner is really letting him come the fuck back out here to get his ass beat. So apparently the punch differential is 319 to 68.
Oh my
as
God.
The 12th round begins.
Yeah, they need. Yeah, don't send that man out there. Well, that fight will probably be over by the time this episode is over. We'll let you guys know.
Unless Garcia has some super secret freaking punch that he's gonna pull out of his ass.
Yeah. This is your time to pull.
This is 120, 108, maybe 107. He
needs to pull what Bolo did in kickboxer. He pulled a little that little powder he threw in Jean-Claude Van Damme's eye. This might be the time, buddy. If you got it tucked somewhere in the stash, you need to get out of there. We'll let you guys know who wins that fight. But well, it's not gonna matter. By the time you guys hear this recording, that fight will be over. You'll know who won.
The answer is Errol Spence.
But anywho, before we get into parting shots and shout outs to Ashley, the MMA nerd on Twitter. She had 3 questions. She also has her own podcast. If you guys want to check that out, she is at. Why am I stuttering over words? She is at _MMA_nerd. So you can give her a follow on Twitter. But she had 3 questions for us. First question is, who is next for Masvidal and who is next for Till?
I mean, Masvial has to be on Edwards, right?
Yeah, I think that storyline pretty much writes itself. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that fight. Like, it's just, I don't like to promote backstage violence and out the cage antics, but the story kind of writes itself.
Let's be real. These people. Masvidal just got paid $100,000 plus because of what he did to Darren Till. And it wasn't that much different than what he did in the back. You know what I mean?
Right. So, yeah, it's got to be Masvidal. Like, I mean, it's got to be Edwards. Outside of Edwards, I don't know. Do you do Masvidal Askren?
No.
I mean, yeah.
Where's the heat on that? Like,
yeah, that's trash. That's
I mean, it's not even trash. It's just like there's no heat to it. Like we saw Masvidal fight Maya already.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think Masvidal Edwards kind of makes sense because Masvidal's coming off of, he hadn't fought in like since 2017. Yeah, his last fight against Wonderboy was November 2017.
Apparently, he was doing American Ninja Warrior.
He was doing his thing, but that's a pretty sizable layoff. So I don't know if you can like immediately give him a title shot, but I think the Edwards fight makes sense because Edwards is on a nice roll of his own, and being that Edwards just knocked out. Not knocked out. Edwards is on a great streak. He's fighting he would be fighting the guy who just knocked out somebody who fought for a title. So I felt like if Edwards wins, it makes sense for him. He's in title contention now. And then I feel like if Masvidal wins, you knocked out the guy who was climbing up the ladder. I feel like it just makes sense. Like, this story just almost, it seemed like destiny. So yeah, I feel it's got to be Masvidal Edwards. I don't know who else you throw in. The story, it writes itself. So now you have to do it and hope they don't kill each other before the fight like actually happens.
Darren Till's next fight should be like freaking Ed Herman at 185. Like, if you care about Darren Till at all, if you care about having a good upper weight freaking British fighter at all, get him to middleweight, get him a nice, easy layup of a fight, and rebuild his confidence after getting, stomped in his last 2 fights.
Yeah, Till needs a boost after this one. Because if we're being completely honest, his last good performance was against Cerrone, and that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Albeit he won the Wonderboy fight, but that was not. That wasn't it. That was not a good fight. We obviously saw what happened in the Woodley fight, and then in this fight, we saw he got his soul taken away from him. I don't know if it would be at 170 or 185, but wherever he fights next, I don't really know who it is, but it needs to not be someone like in that upper echelon. I'm trying to think if he did fight at 170, trying to think of somebody. Just
Well,
somebody
he
like,
can't. That's the thing, though. He can't go down. Like at 170, like you already had the title fight. You've already main evented like 3 card. This will be his 4th one now. Like you can't go down from there. Like the UFC doesn't do that. You don't get the easy layup matchup. You like the UFC is just as likely to book him against like Gunnar Nelson or Leon Edwards, to be honest, as they are to like actually like rebuild him. You know what I mean?
who was the guy who beat Tim Bosch on the last card?
Oh, Amari Akhmedov.
Give him somebody like that, like somebody who's like decent, but you know, a fight that Till could win. Yeah, maybe he should go up to 85 because he's a huge 170 man. At 185, he's not giving up a ton of size, you know. So yeah, I don't really know, and I don't really have any names really jumping out at me for Till. Just he needs a layup fight though. He needs one of them confidence boosters, one of them fights that 9 times out of 10 he should beat the guy handedly. So yeah, that'll be our answer for that question. Our next question is, did Leon deserve his backstage smackdown? So let's actually real quick, because we mentioned it, but we didn't really say what happened. So for those who didn't see, well, I'm pretty sure you guys will have seen it by the time you hear this episode, but in case you didn't, so Masvidal was in the back being interviewed, and Leon Edwards was down the hallway. I don't think he was even being interviewed. I guess he was just talking. It's hard for me to say because I didn't really hear what Leon said, but it was Masvidal's reaction that, you know, Masvidal's in the middle of getting interviewed, and then he just like turns to his right, and you kind of hear Leon like off in the background, like kind of saying something, but I couldn't really make out what it was that he was saying. And like I said earlier, Masvidal did something that when a guy does this, you need to know that he's about to throw hands and you're about to get pieced up. He looks over in Leon's direction and says, "How about you say that to my face?" And he calmly walks to Leon with his hands behind his back for about the first 4 seconds of his walk. He calmly walks over to Leon. They get face to face, and just like he was in a real fight in the cage, he hits Leon with the quickest 3-piece I've ever seen. You know, that they get in a little scuffle, and it gets broken up real quick. Masvidal goes 2-0 on the night. Did Leon deserve it? It's hard for me to say because I don't know what it was that Leon said.
I mean, why not?
I
mean, you talk shit to a dude who, like you said, like you talk shit to a dude who, in reality, is a street fighter. Like that's like Masvidal is a street fighter, and he will never get away from and he embraces that. Like you talk shit to somebody like that, you're gonna get you have to throw down. There's no question.
I'll shoot Leon some bail and say I'm not gonna say he deserved it, but I will say he should have been more prepared. Like, I don't know what it was that you said, but you can't be popping off at them. Especially dude just got done fighting. Like his adrenaline's probably still a little.
This man is not yet done feeling himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's still up there. He's still, you know, he's fresh off of a fight, so he's still in go mode. So like you gotta know, you know, he's in that mode, and you're running off at the mouth. You gotta be prepared that something could actually happen. And like I said before, if somebody walks up to you calmly with their hands behind their back, they are ready to fight. Because those are what the real ones do. Masvidal wasn't yelling or you know, saying anything crazy. In the heat of the moment, he was crazy calm. That lets you know he's done this 1,000 times. He's ready to throw hands at any given moment. So I won't say Leon deserved it, but should have been bobbing and weaving, buddy. You should have been ready for the smoke.
I mean, at least I was about to say maybe like at least he guarantees that he's going to get like a headliner next, but even that might not be true.
Might not be, but if the UFC's smart, hey, listen, man, if y'all can use Connor's dolly throwing in promo, I don't see why you can't use this perfectly placed 3-piece. It sells itself. It sells itself. So, yeah. So the Anti-Cool said he deserved it. I'm gonna say he didn't, but he should have been ready for the smoke. He should have known what the business was. And her last question, she just wants to know what are our thoughts on Nathaniel Wood. I guess kind of to piggyback what we kind of mentioned earlier. Wood, it's kind of just hard to tell because I feel like I haven't seen enough. I mean, based on what I have seen, he's definitely talented, physically strong. There's nothing really. There's not much. I'm trying to think. There's not anything about his game that like really, really jumps out at me, other than like he's young and he seems to be pretty solid all around. It's kind of hard for me to say, but like I said, I think he's definitely talented. And to piggyback off what you said, I want to see him fight somebody I need to see him fight somebody that's going to push him a little more, because then I'll know more of what we have. And then I think once I see that, like how he can really respond to like some adversity, I'll know more of what we have with him. Because at this point, it's still kind of hard to gauge his ceiling. But I think the dude is definitely talented. It seems like he does have a bright future. Bantamweight is a tough division though. Like it's another one of those divisions where even outside of the top 15, it's
It's a jungle.
you're still gonna run. Yeah, it's a jungle. It's some bad boys in that division. It's a lot of killers running around. So if he really wants to stand out, he's really gonna have to show and prove. But I mean, so far so good. Kid is talented. I need to see a little bit more. I need to see him fight a little step up in competition, and then I can see more of what we got. But so far, I've liked what I've seen though. So far, I like him. He seems like he has a pretty good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, same. Like, there's no meat to grab onto here. Like, he's not like Petr Yan. You know what I mean? Like, he's not out here just doing the absolute most violent shit imaginable to these poor, unsuspecting, like,
Yeah.
Korean newcomers or whatever. Like, he's not here, beating John Dotson around a cage for 15 minutes. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He goes out there, looks good, looks dominant, and gets the stoppage. And that's kind of what you hope for a guy who's gotten some like favorable matchmaking up to this point. And again, that's not like a criticism or anything. It's just kind of just how the dice has been rolled. I mean, I like his game. Like it seems like it's well put together, and he's comfortable everywhere. So I look forward to seeing him when he like face a top 20-ish guy. Like that's really what I need to see to know. I really want to know what he does when he's troubled. You know,
Right.
like. Does he go to the wrestling? Does he stick with the boxing? What do you do when you can't do whatever you want? Not even when you're in trouble. Like when the guy in front of you has a specific skill set that is dangerous and that doesn't have as big a hole as Johnny Eduardo's grappling is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's where my curiosity lies.
And I think, at bantamweight, we're going to see that at some point. Like they're killers everywhere. So eventually he's going to run into somebody who's going to somebody's gonna give him some problems. And we'll just have to see at that point how he responds to it. But like I said, so far so good though. I like what I've seen. We'll just I just want to see a little bit more. But thank you, Ashley, the MMA nerd. Those were all of her questions. Definitely appreciate you asking the questions. And for the rest of you folks out there, you can always submit questions either at the Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com email, or just send them to me if you see me on social media. We'll save them for the show, and we will answer as we see fit. But that is all we have for today's episode. So as always, we will close out with parting shots and shout outs. I don't have any shots really. I probably could, but I don't want to be in a negative mood. I'll leave it alone. I'll just give some shout outs. We'll end on a positive note because we started this episode on a heavy note. So on the positive side of things, shout outs to the hometown, Towson University, where I live at in Maryland. Their NCAA women's team just got their first March Madness tournament bid in the history of the program. They won the Colonial Athletic Association championship over Drexel, beating them 53-49. So awesome, making history, making it to the tournament for the first time. Don't know how far they'll go, but hey, man, you made it to the dance, and it's a big deal for a program that has literally just never made it. So that's awesome. So shout outs to them, and also shout outs to Michael Bisping, who you guys may have seen tonight was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I've pretty been well documented. I'm like one of 3 Michael Bisping fans that I know. But no, congrats on him. Shout outs to him for making it to the Hall of Fame. I've been a fan of his pretty much since like day one, and it hasn't always been the easiest ride being a Bisping fan. I've been taunted with that H-bomb for a lot of my life. But no, it's been awesome to see him. Like, that man has been in the UFC for a long time and has fought through multiple generations. And there were points in his career where, like, I just never thought. Like, I remember distinctly after he lost that close fight to Chael Sonnen. I was like, oh, man, like, he's never. Because I thought, like, that was his moment. Like, if he would have beat Chael, that would have set him up for a title shot at the time. And when he lost that match, I just kind of thought, like, man, he might not ever make it. And dude, he found a way to just hang around and keep himself relevant, win enough fights, and put himself in a position to fight Rockhold on 11 days. Well, it was like 11 or 17 days notice, something crazy. It was really short. And he goes and knocks Rockhold out and wins the championship. And that was like one of my favorite like all-time moments in MMA in general. I'm glad I got to see him be champion. It was just really awesome to see. So congrats to Bisping on making it to the Hall of Fame. Well-deserved, pioneer of UK MMA. Awesome fighter, man. I was a big fan. So congrats and shout-outs to Michael Bisping. That's all I got for parting shots and shout-outs.
Shouts to teens, I guess. This past Friday, I want to say, it was there was a global like strike for high schoolers all around the world protesting climate change. Thousands and thousands of kids all over the planet. As far as I know, they did it on their own. No prompting from adults. Just out here, they all marched out of school. I don't know what time on Friday, and between that and Egg Boy, the teens are all right, man. They're getting the stuff. They're gonna. I feel safe knowing that they'll be in charge when I'm in the nursing home.
Big shout outs to Egg Boy.
Big. Yeah, and for the record, let's do his name. Senator Fraser Anning, fuck that guy. That's a shot. Fuck that guy. Fuck Lou Gamer from Texas for what they had to say. And not a shout out, but nothing but love to the Christchurch community in New Zealand. Just I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It's one of the headlines. It's weird how much we see those headlines.
It's scary how much they don't register like they used to.
Right. That's not something you want to get like desensitized to. Ugh. But yeah, definitely prayers to them, man. That is not a good way to kick the year off, man. Not a.
I mean, at this point, we're well into the year.
Yeah, but people we gotta chill, man. Y'all gotta chill out. We can't keep doing this over and over.
Yeah, I want to end on something positive. So, shouts to future Nick. Zion Williamson for coming back off of his debilitating groin injury. Shouts. If we draft him, we're gonna ruin him. Like he's gonna come into camp like 300 pounds. Like James Dolan is like going to be like just shit talking him, and it's gonna get back to him, and he's gonna be like, "I want to leave," and Dolan will throw his hands up in the air and be like, "Why does no one want to play here?" And the answer is always just gonna be him.
He banned that fan for life who told him to sell.
Shouts to the senator who wanted to take away the freaking Madison Square Garden's tax, their tax exemption of $40 million, because why the fuck does MSG need a tax exemption? They make $1.5 billion a year.
When you got the big money.
It's only $40 million.
That is true.
Like that's like me not paying $100 in taxes. Like, come on.
They got connections we don't, and that's trash.
Fuck James Dolan. It's not even a shot. Just fuck him.
There you go.
It's a way of life.
Oh, did Spence? Is that official? He won.
Hmm? Oh, Spence won. Yeah, no. 120, 107, 108, and 108. So, yeah. Ooh. No, like I said, he beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. So, by the time you guys hear this podcast, like I said, that fight already happened, but we'll break that down next week. I'll make sure to watch it between now and then. And then next week, we will have UFC Fight Night 148. Pettis versus Wonder Boy. Go.
That card is really bad.
You got Pettis, Wonder Boy. Glad to see Chito Vera. Him and the Frankie Saenz fight got rebooked, so it's on that card. You got Curtis Blaydes, Justin Willis, Juicy Formiga, Davidson Figueroa, Luis Pena making his featherweight debut. Macy Barber's on the card.
Yeah, it's like the best three fights on this card are Formiga Figueiredo, Aldrich Barber, and Sainz Vera, and that's not a good thing. And I like all three of those fights, but like, come on.
Shout out to Angela Hill. She's on the card. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. That main event is weird. It's just weird. But this is MMA. I should expect nothing.
They were
else.
Desperate, and they needed somebody to fill in Tennessee. I think that's the story here.
I mean, we said it. Nobody wanted to see this fight but them two. They said, "You want to fight? You trying to fight me, bro? Yeah, I'll fight." And it just happened.
Wonder Boy should just go challenge freaking Whitaker.
There you go. Speak into existence. It happens. Apparently.
Yeah. Whitaker should just be like, "I'm not fighting the interim champion. I'm fighting Wonder Boy."
Oh boy. But yeah, man, that's been it, man, for today's episode. As always, give us a listen, man. SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play. Check us out. Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. And you can buy my book, The Outlaw Chronicles, for the very fair price of 99 cents. Or if you're a paperback person, spend $8.99 and support a broke and starving author. But as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.